So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today I want to take a quick look at Tenora, which is the newest assault rifle that's been added with the latest update. Now you can pick up the blueprint for Tenora from the Tenora lab in your dojo. However, since no one has managed to research it yet, I don't know what the build requirements are, but judging by the research requirements, it's not gonna be too bad. The Tenora comes with two different fire modes. The first one is essentially a minigun mode where the longer you hold down the fire button, the more fire rate you're gonna get, but unlike something like the Gorgon, you're also gonna get more accuracy. The secondary fire mode will load in 10 bullets and then fire all of them at once with pinpoint accuracy. Now it is a little bit weird because it does have a charge mechanic, but you don't have to hold down the button. You press it and it will charge up as it loads the bullets and then it fires them. Now the primary fire does 23 damage with each shot, and the damage distribution is fairly balanced. It does 9.2 as puncture and 6.9 as both impact and slash. It also has a very decent 25% crit chance, a standard 2x crit multiplier, and 15% status chance. The secondary fire also does 23 damage with each shot, but it weighs more heavily towards puncture, so it does 13.8 as puncture and only 4.6 as both impact and slash. Now it also trades a little bit of status for crit, so it only has 11% status chance but 33% crit chance and a 3x crit multiplier. This is really nice. And other than that, it has 80 rounds in the magazine, 2.5 second reload time, and you need to be at least mastery rank 10 to use it. The build I ended up with is a very cheap 3 Forma build where I've added 3 Vs, and it's running Acceleration for more damage, Split Chamber for multi-shot, Point Strike for critical chance, Vital Sense for critical damage. Then I've added Argon Scope, which adds even more crit chance when I get a headshot and I'm aiming down sights, and this gives me very consistent crits on the primary fire, but also red crits every now and then with the secondary fire. And finally, I've added High Voltage and Malignant Force for corrosive damage and Thermite Rounds for heat damage, and this gives me a really nice amount of status as well. Now, if you don't have Argon Scope or you just don't want to aim down sights with a minigun, you can easily swap it out for Hammer Shot, which is going to give you a little bit more crit damage but also status chance, Bladed Rounds, which is going to give you even more crit damage once you've killed an enemy and you're aiming down sights, or Speed Trigger if you really want to go for the minigun theme, though I would probably recommend using Rifle Ammo Mutation instead to counteract the ammo inefficiency of the primary fire mode. Because it's not the hardest thing in the world to run out of ammo with this weapon, even if you're using Carrier. Now, since the weapon has decent crit and status, it works kind of like Extrato Prime, so it can strip away the enemy armor thanks to the status chance, but it's also incredibly damaging thanks to the crit. Now, it unsurprisingly takes longer to take down the heavily armored units like your heavy gunners, your bombards, and your napalms, but it's not that big of a difference. Since the weapon has really good fire rate, especially once it's spooled up, it will shred the enemy armor fairly quickly and then it just tears them to pieces with the crits. And as you can see over here, the smaller fodder units just melt under the constant barrage of crits and status procs. Now, the secondary fire mode does do an absolute truck ton of damage, especially if you're using Argon Scope and you get a red crit. And on its own, it's able to take down even the toughest units from the unarmored factions in just 2 or 3 shots. It once again takes a little bit more to take down the heavily armored units, but maybe not as many as you might think. Though the amount of damage you are able to do with the secondary fire depends pretty heavily on how many corrosive procs you get, which is why this is far more effective when combined with the primary fire. Simply pelt the enemy a little bit, strip away their armor, and then boom, headshot. So overall, this weapon is really damn good. It is very accurate once it's spooled up, it does a lot of damage, and it has good crit and status. Though the reload time is a little bit too long. I mean, 2.5 seconds, that's quite a bit, but that's nothing that can't be fixed by swapping Argon Scope for fast hands. But there is one thing that I really don't like about this weapon, and this may just be me being incredibly nitpicky, but I really don't like the way the secondary fire works, and I have 2 reasons why. So number 1, some of the enemies have very unpredictable movement and they will twitch randomly, so you could be tracking them for the entire charge up time, but just as you're about to fire, they will twitch and you will miss. This can get somewhat annoying, especially if it happens few times in a row. But it is nowhere near as annoying as lining up your crosshair and tracking the enemy for the entire duration, waiting for the damn thing to fire, only to be hit by a butcher or a bombard rocket or have a MOA stomp nearby, or one of your teammates kills an osprey and you will miss because of screen shake. Now, you might think, well, that's a very unlikely thing to happen. Trust me, it's not. It kept happening to me over and over again, to a point where I just stopped using the secondary fire after about 20 missions because I was done with it. But that's pretty much all the bad I can think of when it comes to this weapon. You can sometimes miss with the secondary fire because of screen shake and enemies spazzing around randomly. The reload time can be somewhat long, though it's not too bad, and it can be kind of ammo inefficient if you go full minigun with it. Oh yeah, and it also kind of sounds like it was manufactured by Mattel. I don't know why, but it just doesn't sound like a minigun to me. So I would definitely recommend you pick up the Tenora as soon as you can. It is a fantastic rifle that's a lot of fun. I mean, it's essentially a Gorgon on steroids that has good crit, good status, good damage, good accuracy, and it happens to have a sniper rifle duct taped to it as well. And before I end the video, I just quickly want to say that the Ringed City DLC for Dark Souls 3 is coming out tomorrow here in Europe, which is the 28th of March. Now, this is quite possibly the last piece of Dark Souls content we are ever going to get, and as a big fan of this series, I want to enjoy it as much as I can. So to kind of stop myself from rushing it as fast as I can, just so I can get back to work and start making videos again, I am taking a break tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, so the 28th of March and also the 29th of March. Okay, I just really want to enjoy this last piece of Dark Souls that we're ever gonna get, and that's pretty much it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching. As always, I need to go and drink some water by the sounds of it, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.